Usually, I have been critical recently of a lot of people in the quote mainstream media, especially the media on the left, for failing to get information correct. I've had a couple examples of this on the show. There's a couple of videos that I've made about this on the show already. I'm sure there'll be more, but this is the first time that I can recall that I have been critical of Ari Melber. Ari Melber on MSNBC has typically been somebody who I think is reliable in an area of unreliability. But today, I think he screwed up. Today, I think he did, what I've been critical of others doing, which is claiming that Donald Trump caved to the pressures that he was facing in not reversing the tariffs today, because not all tariffs are reversed. And it's just a pause. It's a 90-day pause. It's not a we're eliminating it. It's just, here's a pause. So, for 90 days. So they're still there. They still could come back in 90 days from now. But they're saying, oh, he caved. He gave in. He gave up. As if this wasn't all part of the plan. I have been talking about this on the podcast for a while now. Unfortunately, I'm the best podcast, according to Trucker John, that most people don't listen to. And so, unfortunately, people aren't getting this and hearing this enough. That being said, this is the con. Donald Trump, for all he is an expert con man. He knows how to do the con. The book shouldn't have been called The Art of the Deal. It should have been called The Art of the Con. And yes, Mad Mac in chat, the Ari is much smarter than that usually, but you know what Joseph Gao would say?
You are much, much smarter than I am.
But yes, Josh, Bill in chat, all of y'all are correct. I've been talking about this for a while now. It's market manipulation. He is manipulating the market. He is purposefully causing instability in the stock market. Why? So the market could go down. I have no evidence that he shorted any stocks. But the smart con man would screw with the stock market. The smart con man would make it so the stocks drop. And as the stocks are falling, they would be shorting them along the way. And then once it hits their bottom that they want to see, where they don't get too poor, but they can buy the dip, they buy the dip and hope it then goes back up. So what happened today on Lie Social? On Lie Social at 8:37 a.m. my time, maybe 9:37 Eastern, Donald Trump says, this is a great time to buy. And he signs it DJT, telling you that this is a truth, a lie, coming from Donald Trump. Of course, this particular, I'm not going to say was a lie. Why? Because it probably was a great time to buy at 8:37 a.m. Central Time. Because at 12:18 Central Time, a little less than 4 hours later, he truths out or whatever that based on the lack of respect that China has shown, I'm hereby raising the tariff to China by to 125% effective immediately. At some point, hopefully in the near future, China will realize the day of blah, 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 blah. But he has also authorized a 90-day pause and a substantially lowered reciprocal tariff during this period of 10%, also effective immediately. So he lowered the tariffs. It's still 10%, which is still high, especially compared to a lot of areas. But I'm sure when he said now is a great time to buy, he already bought. He already bought the dip. And by doing this, by posting this, under any other circumstance, this would be market manipulation. This would be a crime, and they would go after him. But according to the Supreme Court, you can't go after him. Why? Because he's immune. And you can't, and people might say, oh, well, you didn't read the whole ruling because they said that some things aren't immune. Of course they did. We did read the ruling live on the air. But what happened? In the ruling, they also said that communications from the executive branch are privileged. So how the hell would you go after any crimes done by the executive branch if the communications that you might need to subpoena in order to get a conviction can't be subpoenaed because the Supreme Court has said they're all privileged? So Donald Trump manipulates the stock market, and he says it's a great time to buy, and then lowers the tariff, causing the markets to rebound today. But again, the idea that this was him caving is just more media malfeasance. The media has a responsibility to report the things properly, fairly, and equitably. The media has a responsibility to let us know the truth. But too many times they're a little too loose with certain things, but other times they just don't get it. It shouldn't take this long for these people to understand who Donald Trump is and what he does. We have clear examples of that back from his running businesses, and we have clear examples of the media failing us when they talked about his bankruptcies. They reported on his bankruptcies, and they say Donald Trump is a failed businessman because he had so many businesses go bankrupt. Well, the conservatives and the people who support him, the people who think he's a businessman and therefore we should run this country like a business, are not going to look at that and be like, oh, but he's still wealthy, he's still rich, so therefore he's clearly not a bad business person because he's still the wealthy person that we all think he is. But he's not. These weren't examples of failed businesses. There have been failed Donald Trump businesses, don't get me wrong. But the cases of like the casino, they're like, how do you bankrupt a casino? The answer to that question has always been simple. You cash out money for your own personal benefit. You run up debts while getting these things, these casino built or refurbished, whatever. And then when it comes time to actually pay the piper, when it comes time to actually, give the people the money that they're owed, he declared bankruptcy. He abused the bankruptcy system to manipulated the bankruptcy system in order to enrich himself and screw over everybody else, make everybody else holding the bag. So why is the media reporting that? Because the media is either irresponsible or just don't know what they're talking about when it comes to what this president does. And now they're doing it again by claiming that he caved instead of saying the actual thing of what happened was this was market manipulation. We have a lawless president, a criminal president, somebody who's already been convicted of 34 felonies, who is now using his office to enrich himself and his buddies to the detriment of the people of this country. Because they can afford the dips like this. What happens in 90 days? I would not be surprised in 90 days that if the tariffs come right back in, that the stock market plummets again, and then he tweets again, oh, now it's another great time to buy, starting another rally, but knowing that he already bought, so therefore his value is going to go up even well. He's going to get more wealthier. Musk is going to get more wealthier. All of his cronies are going to get more wealthier, and he's using government to do it because he's a con man. He's a con artist. He's a snake oil salesman. And if you in the media have not realized this yet, it's time to hang up your boots, so to speak. It's time to step down and let other people on the air who are going to report these issues factually, honestly, and understanding who the hell this lawless criminal president is. Or better yet, the people who, need to hear this should just be, sharing videos from like myself and Hal and Boston Brian and other people who are in the media who should be heard more. My dude, Tommy, Carbon, Trucker John, Metis, Ojeda, all the people who need more viewers. We should be sharing all of this stuff because the people need to know that the media that there have been relied on for truth has been failing us time and time again. And at what point do we say enough is enough, and do we move on to the people who are being responsible, who are telling you what it is, who are not falling for Donald Trump's con game? Because if you think that this was him caving, you are falling for the Donald Trump con game. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with that? Do you still think he balked or caved or whatever? Leave your comments down below. Remember to like the video, share, subscribe to the channel, and of course, unless you're a Nazi, have a good day.